Myra Solon stood in the communal hall of Station Nexus 7, staring at the seventh holographic document floating before her eyes. The Calthine family seal glowed in iridescent purple at the bottom, right beside a paw print that could only belong to their youngest cub, Jesson. She rubbed her temples, wondering how her life had spiraled so completely out of control in just 18 months. It had started innocently enough with Ricker. The vexillary mechanic who lived 3 doors down from her quarters had been desperate. His mate was in medical bay, their cub needed supervision, and every professional childcare service on the station had been fully booked. Myra, newly arrived on Nexus 7 and still adjusting to life among dozens of alien species, had simply shrugged and said yes. How hard could watching one fuzzy, 6-limbed cub be for a few hours? Very hard, as it turned out. Ricker had been a whirlwind of energy climbing walls with his adhesive paws, trying to eat her datapad and somehow getting stuck inside a ventilation duct. But Myra had handled it with the particular brand of creative problem-solving that humans excelled at. She turned the apartment into an obstacle course, taught Ricker to play gravity ball with magnetic spheres, and even improvised a bedtime story about Earth's ancient dinosaurs that left the cub mesmerized. When Ricker's father returned, he'd found his son peacefully sleeping, the apartment spotless, and Myra calmly reading on her couch. The vexillary had stared at her like she'd performed some kind of miracle. Word spread fast on a space station. The Calthine family had been next to bear-like aliens with crystalline fur who worked in the station's agricultural domes. Their daughter had scales itch, a condition that made most caregivers nervous. Myra had researched it, prepared a soothing mineral bath, and somehow managed to get the miserable cub laughing with shadow puppets on the wall. The Calthines had offered her triple the standard rate and begged her to come back. Then came the Srathi twins, whose reptilian species required precise temperature regulation. The Morvine infant who needed to be sung to in harmonic frequencies that hurt most species' ears, but that Myra could somehow manage. The Quellen triplets who were going through their biting phase, and whom Myra had trained using positive reinforcement techniques. She'd learned from Earth dog training videos. Each family had been grateful, overwhelmingly so. But Myra hadn't understood the cultural significance of what was happening until Ambassador Threen, the station's vixillary diplomatic liaison, had appeared at her door with Ricker in tow and a solemn expression on his furred face. "Myra Solon," he'd said formally. "The family of Ricker wishes to present you with this." He'd extended a data chip. "It is a custody-shared document. It grants you partial parental rights and responsibilities for Ricker, acknowledging the bond between you." Myra had nearly dropped her coffee. "I'm sorry, what?" Threen's translator had chirped as he explained. "Among vexillary, those who successfully care for our young during vulnerable moments become part of the family unit. You showed exceptional skill and dedication. Ricker's parents wished to honor you." She tried to refuse. She'd explained she was just babysitting, that she had no intention of becoming a permanent fixture in their family structure. But Ricker had climbed up her leg with those adhesive paws, chirping happily, and his parents had looked so hopeful that she'd found herself unable to say no. That was custody document number 1. The others had followed in rapid succession. Each species had different traditions, but the sentiment was universal. Myra Solon had proven herself capable, trustworthy, and somehow naturally gifted at understanding their children's needs. The Calthines presented her with a crystal bond certificate. The Srathi offered her a place in their ancestral registry. The Morvine performed a harmonic linking ceremony. Now, standing before document number 7, Myra felt the weight of it all. She wasn't just a babysitter anymore. She was an honorary parent to 7 families across 4 different species. She had legal obligations, ceremonial duties, and a datapad full of appointment reminders for everything from scale molting celebrations to first hunt ceremonies. "You look troubled, Myra, mother," came a familiar voice. Ricker, now nearly twice the size he'd been 18 months ago, bounded into the hall. He'd started calling her that 6 months ago, and her heart had simultaneously melted and panicked. "I'm just processing," she admitted. "The Threnel family wants to offer you custody rights too," Ricker announced cheerfully. "I heard their parents talking. Their pup has anxiety separation, and they heard you are the best." "Ricker, I can't just keep accepting. Why not?" The young Vixeri tilted his head. "You are good at it. Better than anyone. My father says humans have this thing called pack bonding, that you cannot help but care for those around you. That you are built to protect and nurture, even across species lines. He says it makes you dangerous and wonderful at the same time. Myra blinked. She'd never thought about it that way. Humans did have a tendency to adopt anything. She'd heard stories from Earth about people keeping pet rocks, befriending robots, even naming their spacecraft. That instinct to connect, to care, to protect, maybe it was more powerful than she'd realized. What happens when I'm not enough? She asked quietly. What happens when I fail one of you? Ricker's large eyes softened. Then we help you, Myra, mother. That is what family does. Behind her, the communal hall doors opened. 6 other cubs from 6 different families came tumbling in, followed by their parents. They'd apparently all coordinated this meeting without her knowledge. The parents formed a semicircle, and the cubs rushed to Myra, each finding a spot near her on her shoulders, holding her hands, leaning against her legs. The county matriarch stepped forward. Myra Solon, we come to make a proposal. Our species may be different, but our children have bonded under your care. We wish to form an extended pack unit, a cooperative family structure recognized across our cultures. You mean? We mean that you would not face this alone. The swarthy father hissed softly. We support each other. We support you. Together. Myra looked around at the cubs clinging to her, at the parents watching her with hope and gratitude, at Ricker grinning his sharp-toothed smile. This wasn't what she planned when she'd moved to Nexus 7, but then again, the best things in life rarely were. She took a deep breath. Okay, yes, let's do this. The cubs erupted in cheers, each in their own species' unique way. Ricker climbed onto her shoulder and chirped directly into her ear. Told you so. As the families gathered around to celebrate, Myra couldn't help but smile. She'd babysat 1 cub once. Now she had custody documents from 7 families, and apparently that number was about to become 8. Humans, she thought, really couldn't help themselves. They'd pack bond with anything. Even the entire galaxy, 1 cub at a time.